This for the fofo. For the city and them back roads. Got a whole county full of them ghosts. All from the fofo and that go. Hey, it's just for Beulah County. Yeah, right on your head like a bounty. Said I'm from Beulah, they know I'm from Beulah. So let me just go talk about my surroundings. Shout out them Eagles that's out in Geneva. Them Lakers, oh yeah, that's Palmetto Valley. We from the fofo chasing these goals. If you in the way, you get taken out proudly. And Jefferson soaring with Falcon. Said that you working, you ain't really working. You see that we working, our hands got a callus. Putting in reps till we moving some mountains. Edgewood got warriors, they won't allow it. Me, I bleed green and gold, they know defeating no dragons who run the whole city. You wildin'. And they really doubt it, yeah. And next we gon' go to Grand Valley. Work like a horse and don't show no remorse. So opponents keep coming, we stack them and pile them, yeah. And kinda y'all flooded with Spartans. As soon as they pull up on game day, we park them. Cause we number one in that spot ain't a bargain. Man, shout out St. John, they be ballin' like Harden. This for the fofo. This for the fofo. This for the fofo.
Good morning, everybody. Happy Tuesday. Happy Pi Day 314, 3.14. I got reminded of that by one of my patients yesterday that today is Pi Day. So I did not even know that was a real holiday until yesterday. My name is Sam Torres. Welcome to the 440 Sports Show. On this less brisk morning than yesterday, that's for sure. I didn't wake up to half a foot of snow, but it's still definitely snowing out there. Got some cool stuff we're going to talk about on today's show, including a couple things that are coming up. We're going to be touching on the events like the Joe Pete Memorial, the All-Star Game. I want to do a little bit of a more detailed congratulatory section on this show for the wrestlers. So we're going to talk about that sort of those guys. Just some really great stuff coming up right here on the network. I'm really looking forward to. I know this Saturday we've got another Yourcast coming up between the Akron Hoban Knights and the Toledo St. John Titans. This one's going to be in the boys bracket for the state championship semifinal game. So that's a really fun one that I think is going to be an interesting one. Again, it's going to be Ty Bartell on the call, so it's going to be a good broadcast. He does a phenomenal job of calling basketball games. I really, really enjoy my time getting to do that with him. I will be behind the scenes on this one. I'll be behind the scenes on this one, running the live cast. Ty's going to be they're going to be in Dayton, watching it. And what I said yesterday about him remains true today. Ty Bartell, he really paints the picture very, very well for the game with a lot of excitement. So I think it makes listening to an audio-only broadcast from YSN or Ty Bartell in particular, I think it really opens it up. I think it makes it, it's fun. It's fun, and it doesn't feel incomplete when you're listening to guys like him call the game. So again, we're going to be doing that on Yourcast. So for those of you who don't know how the Yourcast works, that's going to be on Saturday. We're going to have a screen up just like this. Now, what you're going to be able to hear is the game being called as it's being played. As information that's on this screen here, as that changes in the game, it's going to be updated on your screen. Points, fouls, the score, the time, the quarter, obviously all those things going to be kind of updated. So this is what Yourcast is. Now, this is a YSN exclusive, something we're only doing right here on the network, just to kind of bring that audio call as a more full experience. That's the idea behind this Yourcast system. So again, I'll be running I will actually be running this part. Ty Bartell going to be on the call. Really looking. Oh, and Dom O'Brien as well, going to be on that call. Both of those guys just going to do a phenomenal job as Akron Hoban heads down to Dayton and hopefully seals the deal for their shot on Sunday at prime time. Yesterday, one of the things there was a really great Power Hour show yesterday with DJ. And one of the things he kind of talked about, and I had to laugh because he doesn't particularly like the shows where all he does is gripe the entire show, according to him. I didn't find it. To me, it's not just griping. I think what he was doing yesterday was just raising some legitimate points and kind of discussing through them. And personally, those are my favorite types of show. But one of the points that he hit on yesterday was, is the OHSAA doing the right thing by having this tournament be spread out and stretched out as long as it truly is? So, one of the things I've said on this show, and he said yesterday as well, these are student athletes where student comes before the athlete. The student portion of a student athlete's title is the most important. So heads can be scratched, curiosities can be piqued when you're talking about games, for instance, in Akron. Okay, Akron Hoban is going to hopefully be playing in the state championship, which won't be played till 8:30 at night on a Sunday evening. Now, school comes early, and Dayton isn't a rock skip throw away from Akron. So now you're talking 8:30, potentially into, let's call it 9:30, 10 o'clock. You got kids getting home 1:30, 2 o'clock in the morning. I don't know if that was necessarily the best idea, particularly when you have the opportunity really to run everything on Friday and Saturday. I mean, that's what they've done in the past. I don't know why that's changed. But it's just one of those. Back in the day, there used to be on the Arsenio Hall show, based on a very popular 90s song. Any of the kids who are watching have no idea any of the words I just spoke. Used to be things to make you go, That's exactly what that is. One of those things that make you go, I'm not sure that's really. And, he had some other points, too, that were really great. Honestly, I want to kind of encourage you to go back and watch that show yesterday, because there are I'm talking daggers, some diamonds. There are some really great points on that show yesterday, including talking about wrestling and how it looked like the scene from Basketball yesterday or last weekend, where everything has a sponsor at the wrestling state championships. Again, coming from a group in OHSAA that heavily limits advertisement, sponsorship, and that sort of thing. It's one of those things where they're kind of, talking out of one side and not the other. Just a really, really interesting show. I thoroughly enjoyed it yesterday. Let me try and pull out there we go. But I do want to send a shout out right now, a little bit more detailed, to our state level competitors. Now, across the network here at YSN, we have a ton of, well, not a ton. There's probably 2 or 3 first place state champions. And I don't have that list in front of me, but I want to extend my personal congratulations to all you. I think wrestling is probably the most overlooked sport altogether. Anthony Hartwig on Running Point does a phenomenal job of providing that coverage. It's something that I'm looking at and trying to kind of formulate how I can do something maybe similar. Obviously not the exact same thing on this show here. Hartwig does something called Wrestling Wednesdays. And you can catch that show right at 1 o'clock right here on the network. He does Wrestling Wednesdays, where that whole day, that whole show day, is to show off and shine the wrestlers. He has a gentleman by the name of Gary Altizer who comes on, who is very well versed. He's not new to this, but he is true to this when it comes to wrestling. He really provides a great perspective and a very in-depth perspective. And it's definitely something I enjoy watching. I wrestled very briefly, so I have a functional usage, I believe, of the understanding behind the sport. The one thing I do understand, whether I wrestled for 4 years or 40 years, is the love for the sport, the amount of work that it takes to be successful in the sport. So anytime we have wrestlers doing well on a state level, they deserve our congratulations. They deserve the shine, the claps, the walkouts, the whole nine. It's well deserved because these kids work outside. I think it's probably neck and neck with them and swimmers when it comes to the real commitment to practice times. These kids are just doing a whole lot, all while remaining good students, which is awesome. But let's kind of go through that list right now. Amari Bowers for the Conneaut Spartans is going to be your Division III 138-pound weight class 6th place winner. So, I think people are, there are some people that might look at that as, it's 6th place. It's 6th place. Like, why are you talking about it? Why I'm talking about it is because if you would see the amount of wrestling and the amount of winning and the amount of work that it takes to be the 6th best wrestler in this beautiful state that is Ohio, it is truly an accomplishment and absolutely nothing to hang your head on. So I want to remind you, Amari Bowers from Conneaut, congratulations. Well done. It's a great way. I believe he's a senior. It's a great way to end your career. It's an ought to get down there, into that wrestling facility and wrestle on those ugly green and yellow mats, or green and black, or whatever they had, those Rudy's mats that they were running down there. But for you to get down there, there was a whole lot of work that was behind it, and it deserves to be recognized. And you have quite an accomplishment in the entire state of Ohio in Division III. You're the 6th best wrestler in the entire state. I can't wait to see kind of where you go from here and how that moves forward. I think it's just a heck of an accomplishment. I'm sure that these kids are not, completely satisfied, because nobody wants to, and everybody wants to be on that top step on the podium. I understand that. But, sometimes you have to remember to smell the flowers, enjoy the experience. Take this. You did something that hundreds of other kids couldn't. You know what I mean? There was a way to kind of tighter down that list, and you kept going, and to even wrestle on the day that you wrestled took a whole lot of work. Congratulations, Amari Bowers from Conneaut High School. Darren Christine, also Division III. He's going to be 3rd place in the entire state of Ohio in the 285-pound division. Congratulations to that young man. He had a little bit more success early in that consolation round. I mean, he's in 3rd place. He wins 3rd place, which means he's one match away from wrestling for 1st. So, it's right there. It's right there. But again, there's nothing to be taken away from this. You are in Division III at the 285-pound level. You're the 3rd best right here in this beautiful state of Ohio. And on any other day, you're a stone's throw away from 1st place. There are huge accomplishments and a lot of stuff to be proud about with getting that high up on the podium. Hopefully, there is some sense of satisfaction for these kids, because you deserve it. You guys worked hard, and it took a lot to get there. So 3rd place, Division III from Conneaut. And then from Jefferson, Brogan Felding is the Division II 132 6th place winner. This is a young guy who's coming back next year. So these ones, congratulations to Conneaut, Amari Bowers, and Darren Christine. But Brogan Felding coming back next year, those are the stories to me that are incredibly intriguing. It can go one of two ways, and we've seen it both ways right here in this county. People make the trip to Columbus. They get there early in their career, in their wrestling career, and one of two things happens. Either they're content and they think that they're just going to get there again, or they work harder than anybody could have imagined and turn that 6th place finish into a 2nd, a 3rd, a 1st, an overall state championship. There's a lot of work that it's going to take. And again, I've said it once and I'll say it again. Outside of swimming, I don't know that any other sport demands more from your practice time, demands more from your schedule, demands more from your commitment than wrestling. It's a beautiful sport that requires an entirely different type of discipline. And it's one of those things, again, I'm really going to make it an effort to try and get some better coverage on this show. At very minimum, I'm going to make sure that we are recognizing your guys' achievements. It's awesome. For instance, Darren Christine, I believe down there in Columbus, gets his 100th win in high school. And 100 wins in high school in wrestling is nothing to shrug off. It's a huge, huge accomplishment. So congratulations to those wrestlers. We also had some females from the area heading down there. Unfortunately, they don't get into the placement rounds, but female wrestling is a newly sanctioned sport by the OHSAA. Another newly sanctioned sport that I'm super curious to kind of follow into and talk a little bit about is boys volleyball. I put a post out on Facebook yesterday asking if anybody knows if any of the county schools or any of the area schools are doing a boys volleyball program. If so, I'd love to have you right here on the show. Maybe, I'd love to talk about kind of the details and a little bit of the kind of how it's going to work. I think there's a bit of a mystery attached to that. Boys volleyball is a sport that is popular outside of really this area, all over the place. It's an interesting placement where they put it. It's a spring sport. So now you've got for boys in most high schools, you're going to have baseball, track, and now volleyball. I think it'll be interesting to kind of watch boys volleyball develop. When you look over and even like places like Europe and stuff like that, that's all they do. Like boys play volleyball out there, more boys than girls, which is incredible if you think about it. But that's one of those things we will kind of dive into at some point on this show. I do want to go to our first break as we hit that 18-minute mark. As I guess I kind of went off on a tangent there a little bit. But we're going to go to our first break. So we're going to talk to our friends from Toyota of Warren, and then we'll go to another or the rest of the breaks after that. I do want to send a huge shout out to Toyota of Warren. They sent this beautiful, beautiful truck over to YSN. If you want to check it out, go over to the page. It's an absolute monster of a Tundra with YSN and all that good stuff on the side of it. When we come back, we're going to be talking a little bit about some other events coming up, as well as doing a Conneaut baseball preview. Sam Torres here, 440 Sports Show. See you soon.
We believe expectations are made to be exceeded. At the new Toyota of Warren, it's about more than just getting a great deal. It's about service you can count on and a friendship you can trust. Year after year, we've done what we do best. We've gone the extra mile so you could too. Because we know it's just not about buying a new car. It's the start of a new adventure. Toyota of Warren, driven by you.
When looking for home design inspiration, don't just be inspired, be Baird inspired. Whether new or remodeling, Baird Brothers has the latest trends like shiplap to refresh your home. Go from inspiration to installation with our wide selection of in-stock American hardwoods. From the rustic charm of antique oak to the warmth of traditional cherry, Baird Brothers has what you need to make your home inspiring. Baird Brothers, our family's heritage, your family's home.
Quality, customer service, and integrity. Those are the 4 words that have driven our success since 1957 at Joe Dickey Electric.
Joe Dickey Electric is one Mahoning Valley landmark business that stays current with the requirements of our customers. Family owned and managed, we are an electrical contractor and energy solutions provider. Every member of our team adds to his or her skill set through ongoing training. Residential, commercial, industrial, automotive, and more. We keep ahead of the needs of our customers with a fleet of more than 50 vehicles and 24/7 emergency service, so you're never left in the dark.
WRS Wealth Advisors, the area's premier wealth and retirement specialists. Located on South Avenue in Boardman.
Your teams work hard and give it all they've got. Well, so does ours, because 21 Sports and YSN give you extra effort when covering local sports. 21 Sports and YSN, winning coverage of our Valley's teams.
Hi, I want to tell you about my Trish Yearwood home collection available at Sheely's Furniture. With 2 locations serving Ohio and Pennsylvania, Sheely's is one of the country's top sellers of my home collection. And the best part? At Sheely's, you never have to wait for a sale. They offer everyday low pricing as well as a price match guarantee, so you can shop the Trish Yearwood home collection with confidence. Come see my collection with something to offer for every room in your home and get it all with free local delivery, only at Sheely's Furniture.
All right, that was our first break. I want to send a huge shout out to all the sponsors and all the advertisers. I do want to remind you guys that the 440 Sports Show is brought to you by insert your business name here. That's one of the advertisement opportunities available right here on the network. When you talk about the ability for hyper-local advertising, there is none better than at YSN right now in what we're doing. 68 school districts, 68 different groups of people, all kind of huddled within Northeast Ohio. If you want your brand to have outreach and you want your brand to really get some recognition and stuff like that, right here's a great place to do it. This is going to be, all the people in Northeast Ohio are going to get to see your plan. So what's a better way to get out to your customer base or what you're trying to get accomplished than utilizing right here at YSN? And with 4.5 million views so far on the website, what a accomplishment it's been so far. And we're not even through the entire month of March. And as well as I do, we've got March Madness coming up as well as baseball. So a lot going on. 8.5 million for the website when it come to views last year. So I personally, I really do believe this. It's not just because I'm part of this family. I think when it comes to advertising, YSN is really providing you the best value out here. You're just, you type into the equation the fact that we've got 4 daily shows, so you're going to get a chance to have your things run at 8 o'clock, right around noon, 1 o'clock, and then on Power Hour, at noon with Talk More with Matt Morrison, Running Point with Anthony Hartwig at 1 o'clock, and then the cornerstone of the network, Power Hour at 3 o'clock with DJ Oakley. It's a lot of chances for your brand, your advertising, your services to kind of be put in front of the eyes that need to see it. And then you also add into the fact that we're broadcasting an absolute ton of games. Now, right now, we are at kind of the tail end of the basketball season. So, you look over on the live game page, it's going to be like 2 or 3 games. And that's because there's only like 2 or 3 games being played in the state right now. But you look at in the heart of the season, I mean, you're talking 22, 24, 28 at times games being simultaneously broadcast by the best group of broadcasters Northeast Ohio has to offer. It's really a great opportunity. I hope it's something that you'll consider. If it is something that you or somebody would be interested in advertising right here on the network, please feel free to reach out to me on any of my social medias, or you can email ysnlive at ysnlive.info or ysnlive.com. There's going to be an email for advertisements right there. Go there. It is a great way to kind of push your business, and it's also a great way to help help a company that is going above and beyond. And I'm not talking about just me. I'm talking about the guys overall above and beyond for these student athletes. Let's talk about 2. I'm not going to harp on them too much, but I do want to bring up 2 of the upcoming events. This is one coming up on March 31st, the Joe Pigskin Pete alumni game going to be broadcast by yours truly right here on your sports network. This is a alumni game that is going to feature alumni from all the area high schools. You're going to have a 35 and over division as well as a 35 and under. This is going to be done right there at Jefferson High School. This is one of the things I'm most proud of doing. Between this and the West Side Shootout, those are my crown jewels. Those are the ones that kind of help. Joe Pigskin Pete is one of the biggest reasons I wanted to do this, and it's just awesome. It's awesome to be a part of this. So that's coming up on March 31st. Sorry, I thought that was an emergency. It's not. March 31st. And then coming up on the March 25th, we've got the YSN All-Star Game. The best basketball in Northeast Ohio going to be happening right there at the Beagley Center. It is not the Begley Center, folks. The Beagley Center in Youngstown, Ohio. We've got some new people who are going to be jumping into this game, and I'm really excited about their additions. Let's run through the list as we have it, as it stands. Give me 1 second so I can get that pulled out. So a lot of Ashtabula representation going on here. It's, starting off at the coaching side. Coach Randy Venzel going to be coaching the girls side for this YSN All-Star Game. You're going to have local names like Deshaun Williams from Lakeside. Remember him from the Senior Classic. 14 three-pointers in the three-point contest. He goes out in the CVC All-Star Game and drops a 30 bomb. Unreal is Deshaun Williams. Chance Loomis, the dynamic guard from Conneaut High School. Nate Boyarski from Grand Valley. The chef going to be out there again. Joey DeGeorge from Jefferson. Jesus Hernandez from St. John High School. And newly added Blake Kersnerick from PV going to be playing in this game. A lot of representation for every school here. Also, joining the party, James Montanero from Edgewood coming into the game. We got a lot of great basketball players from this area making their way down there. I'm so excited about this. On the girls' side, we've got Lainey Passanen coming from Conneaut, Kate McAllister coming from Edgewood, Kaylin Hart coming from Grand Valley, Mia Contenza coming from Jefferson, and Alyssa Severa coming from St. John. Also, Tamor Hoskin from Lakeside going to be making. Tamor Hoskin, the first time I got to see her was this year in that Senior Classic, and I could not be more excited to watch her play basketball again. She is a very, very talented guard from Lakeside High School. She's going to be taking part in this. I'm telling you, folks, it's really coming together. Saturday is the draft for this game. I'm learning with you guys. I've never got to be this kind of close to the flame, this close to the action with this. Oh, by the way, you're going to have Ashtabula representation on the broadcast as well, as I'll be calling that game with my main man, Ty Bartell. Really, really looking forward to this game. I know I get excited about a lot of stuff, but this is one of those things I cannot wait to see. It's at the Youngstown State Beagley Center. It's a beautiful basketball court, a Division I basketball court that they're playing. Youngstown State, for those of you who follow the college basketball game, you know that they just won the Horizon League. They're hosting NIT games there. It's great. It is really a jewel right here. And I mean, you're talking, a 35, 40-minute drive down Route 11. You know what I mean? Now, for those of you who aren't going to be able to make that, bring it on screen one more time. If you can't make it to 224 West Spring Street, Youngstown, Ohio, for whatever reason, have no fear. YSN is here. We are going to bring that broadcast to you live. It's going to be on ysnlive.com, so you're going to be able to see all the great basketball play that is happening. There are some really great minds that are attached to this. I'm personally, I'm kind of involved, or not kind of, I'm involved with the group that's helping planning this thing. for the first time this year, and just kind of sitting back and watching how they've done it in the past, the excitement that all these guys have for all the student athletes. I think it's well established my excitement level for our Ashtabula County athletes. But one of the things I think that's coolest for me to see is that is something that happens everywhere else. There are every area has their Sammy. Now I'm yours. Sorry, you're stuck with me. But it's cool to work with like minds, and that's what we get to do with that. March 25th, 5 o'clock going to be the first game, actually. They're going to have to push it up. Otherwise, this game could go all night. Some great names jumping into this one. I'm really, really excited. Enough of that, though. Let's talk about Conneaut baseball. Shout out to Coach Lips for talking to me last night, kind of giving me a walkthrough. We will get some coaching profiles and some coaching interviews put up on this show sooner than later. I'm still trying to work on getting those done. It's really, honest to God, just a scheduling issue. These coaches are so busy, particularly at this time of year. With all this garbage weather, whether it's raining or snowing or whatever, their gym time is an issue, trying to figure out when to get these kids in. But they're coming. They are coming. Let's talk about this Conneaut Spartans team, coached by Bill Lips. Their 2022 record left some room for improvement. A lot of room for improvement, if you ask Coach Lips. 8-13 last year. Now, this 2023 schedule is going to be a little bit of a weird one because right now Conneaut is in that transition phase as they transition from out of that Pennsylvania-based league and into the CVC. So technically, they will not be playing for a league. They are an independent school this year. When the CVC grew over this past year, adding both Jefferson, Madison, and Conneaut into it's one of those things that has been a dream come true. Anybody who has been part of this journey for the 440 Sports Show, anybody who's been part of this journey for the 440 Sports Show, all the way back to the days of when we were 440 and goal, all the way back to the days before we started covering live sports, before we started going to football games, when it was just a podcast with three guys talking, knows that one of my personal mountains, one of my personal pushes was for a county league. I think that it's more beneficial to the students. I think it's more beneficial to the schools, and I think it's more beneficial to the county itself. Now, while it's not going to be called the NEC, which is the county league that we all grew up with and loved, it is one step closer as the CVC adds those schools in and enacts what they're going to call the CVC Lake Division. Lake Division going to be made up in football, and I can only assume it's going to carry through in all the sports. Although the CVC has like 30 teams, so who knows how they're going to do basketball. But here's what I do know, that next year in football, and I believe in baseball as well, this is how it's going to shake out for the CVC Lake Division. It's going to be Conneaut, Edgewood, Geneva, Jefferson, Lakeside, and Madison. Now, Madison, at first glance, probably seems like the odd man out as they're a Lake County school. But Madison, I like to call them Lake County Light. It's basically Western Geneva. They're right there. And Madison has been part of the NEC for years and years and years as well. Was part of the NEC as well. So these are teams that it's all the teams that you're going to play in that conference are well within driving distance. These are people that you're going to pretty much know by face that you're playing. And I think there is something to that. I think it's going to enact some rivalries back up. It's a good thing. Now, I say that to say next year, Conneaut's baseball schedule will most likely be completely different than this year. But for this year, they are all over the place, which is nothing new over at Conneaut. March 25th, they're going to start off the year on the road at Watkins, which is a Pennsylvania school. March 28th, they're going to be their first home game is going to be Fairview, PA. On March 30th, they are going to be at Hubbard. I have that game starred because Hubbard, as you know, one of our YSN brethren. So there's a good chance that that's going to be put right here on the network at www.ysnlive.com. April 4th, they're going to be heading to Madison. And April 1st, I'm sorry, they're going to VASJ as well. One of the things I noticed with them is they go on pretty good away stands, but then they always sprinkle in a home game just to remind them about their field over at CYLO. And shout out to the entire community of Conneaut. For those of you who don't know, last year, the CYLO, with the Conneaut Youth Little League, or anyway, it's their baseball field, was completely flooded. And I'm not talking about Softball City gets flooded, after a little bit of rain. I'm talking about SpongeBob and Patrick were hanging out on the baseball field. There was probably 4 or 5 feet of water over there. For whatever reason, I think there's a creek or something that had broken, or a creek that broke open or something like that. I'm not a geologist, so I don't know. I just know that I saw the pictures, and it looked like, Kevin Costner was getting ready for Waterworld 2 right there in Conneaut. What you had happen out there, and this is the community stepped up, and not just Conneaut, but largely in Conneaut, as the water began to go away and recede. They went in there and went hardcore to refinish and redo all these fields that needed, including putting up new fencing, clearing out. It was awesome to watch. You had other schools partnering with them. I want to send a shout out to Steve Cray, athletic director over at Edgewood. I know he was working hard with them as well, just trying to get that field back up and running. And you know what? Ultimately, for Conneaut last year, who at one point it didn't look like they would ever have a home game, through hard work, grit, and determination, they were playing home games by the time baseball season started. And it was just something I've never been more impressed by any group effort, by any act of compassion amongst comrades and amongst foes at times too, to help these kids through and make sure that those seniors got a home game before they, throw their cap in the air. So just, it was really something. If you ever want to check out, if you ever have any questions on what happened there were some articles right here. And there were some articles in our local newspaper on what happened, or just reach out to, any of the Conneaut coaches, and they'll tell you, what an endeavor baseball was last year. Anyway, I'm sorry, I digress. I went off on another kind of tangent there. April 8th, they're going to Brookfield for a doubleheader. That game should be started as well, because Brookfield, another one of our YSN network teams. April 10th, they're going to be taking on St. John right at home. That's most likely going to be broadcast right here by yours truly. April 11th, they're going to PV. April 14th, going to Lakeside. April 15th, they're going to be heading to Edgewood for a doubleheader. That one will be on here. That's that one I can tell you. April 17th, they're going to be hosting Geneva. We already know that we're going to be at that one, because unfortunately we can't cover any of the Geneva home games yet. Fingers crossed, crisscross applesauce, hoping that Geneva, I don't know if I'd call it a dispute, but that at some point we can figure out how to provide the Geneva Eagles and their awesome athletes the opportunities that are being provided right here at ysnlive.com. 418, they're going to be hosting Madison, and then 420, they're going to be hosting Perry. 424, they're going to be going against Grand Valley, and then it's a home and away, because 425, they're going to Grand Valley. 426, they're going to be at Lakeside. 428 versus Madison. 5-1, they're going to be going against Villa Angela St. Joseph, this time at home. 5-2, they're going to be checking on Jefferson at home. 5-5, they're going to be at Perry. 5-8, they are going to be home versus PV. 5-9, they are going to be at Jefferson. 5-11, they're going to be going against Girard Pennsylvania. Not our Girard here at YSN. And then 5-12 finishing off the year at Madison. Let's talk a little bit about these Conneaut Spartans that are returning. You know what? This week I'm going to go, or today I'm going to go reverse skate again. Kind of like how that went yesterday. So let's talk about the players they lost first. Alex Kennedy is a big one. Alex Kennedy was one of the best baseball players I've ever had the personal chance to see. Kid can pitched really, really well. I'll tell you what, watching the pitching duels between him and Dietrich last year was prime time baseball, baby. Those were great matchups. Watching those guys go back and forth. He was a great baseball player. I'm almost positive. I think he went on to play college baseball. Danny Henderson was a huge bat for Conneaut last year. Danny Henderson could flat out smack the ball. So they're going to miss that. They're going to miss that power in the lineup. Kiefer Mandagello, I know he's playing college, but as a football player, Kiefer Mandagello is another one of those. He's just a great athlete. Whatever he does, he's going to be good at it. And baseball was no different. Talk about the guys returning. We talk about great athletes. You talk about Conneaut. You cannot talk about those guys without talking about Zach Rice. Zach Rice is a guy who is effective every sport he plays, and not just effective, he excels. Zach Rice is an excellent fielder. He is a great hitter. He has a great feel for the game. He's another one. He's a coach's kid, so he understands the game at a higher level. He's a kid that every time he's out there, the effort is just unmatched, and he's always trying to win. He's truly a competitive kid. Love watching that kid play ball. Love him watching him play, whether it's basketball, football, baseball. Zach Rice is always fun to watch. Aiden Davidson coming in here. He's going to be playing some infield, but maintaining the pitching role. Bryce Spurline, maintaining the pitching as well as the infield. Bryce Spurline, took on the role as the quarterback this year for the football team. It'll be interesting to see. So one of these guys is going to have to take over for Alex Kennedy as the primary arm, and it'll be interesting to see who's going to take that role on, because it's going to have to be one of those. Alex Kennedy, with his pitching prowess and his ability, got them out of quite a few jams last year, just in the fact that people couldn't score on Conneaut. You can't hit the ball, then when the offense is having an off day, it's a little bit easier to kind of swallow. J.R. Hutchinson, he's a utility player, which this is the first kid who has been described as a utility player since we've started doing these previews, and it's very, very interesting for him to be described that way. Now, Bill Lips, their coach, has been doing this for a long time, probably longer than I've been alive. So, utility players are so valuable. Utility players aren't guys that they're not good at anything. They're guys that are good at everything. You can put them anywhere on the field and they're going to work. Also being a pitcher. Ty Koval, a pitcher and an outfielder. Lincoln Wade, playing pitcher and infield, primarily first base. I actually got a chance to watch him pitch last year, as he pitched a couple times in the Edgewood games that we covered. He's a kid who has great control. It'll be interesting to see, did he get a little bit more heat behind his stuff this year? And then Dylan Phillip coming in to play some infield for them. Also worth mentioning, and this is through talking to Coach Lips, is they've got a freshman coming up this year by the name of Anthony Rivera. And Anthony Rivera, there are high expectations by Coach Lips for this young man to come up and immediately make a difference. Watching freshmen come up and make a difference in a game is kind of like a double-edged sword, because sometimes it's like a baptism by fire. Sometimes the lights get bright, and sometimes the game gets very, very fast to them very quickly. But some freshmen have the ability to come in and immediately, float and run with the big dogs. And it'll be interesting to see with Rivera if that's what's going to happen, because Conneaut is going to be tested. I will tell you, even though they're not in a league this year, the competition that they've got this year is legit. Villangela St. Joseph has a great baseball program. That Girard, Pennsylvania team is pretty good. Not to mention the guys that they're going against out here, taking on Edgewood with all of their baseball talent, taking on PV twice this year with Tyler Britton, the Iron Giant, on the line. PV probably going to be the next team that we review. It's going to be a fun season this year. My commitment to you we're going to make sure that we try to get at least 2 and shoot for 3 every week, whether it's baseball or softball. We're going to try and make sure that at least 3 of those games are getting pushed out a week, at very minimum 2. That's going to be the end of my show, folks. I thank you all for tuning in and invite you to tune in again tomorrow as Ashtabula's only sports morning show right here on the 440 Sports Show. My name is Sam Torres. I will also want to invite you to check out my comrades throughout the day, starting off with Talk More with Matt Morrison, who should be coming on here in a couple hours after me, followed by Running Point with Anthony Hartwig, and ending the day with Power Hour. It's just a great show. I know me personally, I make it a point to tune in to Power Hour. It's a fun show. He does a great job. DJ is the man, folks. Plus, I like watching because it gives me stuff for us to argue about. But that's going to do it for today's show. This is Sam Torres, the 440 Sports Show. I'll see you tomorrow morning.
This for the football. This for the football. For the city and the back roads. Got a whole county full of them ghosts. All from the football. Hey, it's just for Beulah County. Yeah, right on your head like a bounty. Said I'm from Beulah, they know I'm from Beulah, so let me just go talk about my surroundings. Shout out them Eagles that's out in Geneva, them Lakers, oh yeah, that's Palmetto Valley. We from the football chasing these goals. If you in the way, you get taken out proudly. And Jefferson soaring with Falcons. Said that you working, you ain't really working. You see that we working, our hands got a callus. Putting in reps till we moving some mountains. Edgewood got warriors, they won't allow it. Me, I bleed green and gold, they know defeating those dragons who run the whole city. You wildin', and they really doubt it. And next we gon' go to Grand Valley. Work like a horse and don't show no remorse. So opponents keep coming, we stack them and pile them. Yeah, and Connie got flooded with Spartans. As soon as they pull up on game day, we park them. Cause we number 1 in that spot, ain't a bargain. Man, shout out St. John, they be ballin' like Harden. Switch for the football.